Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and across the table in the studio is, of course, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Been a while since I had whiskey on one of these things.
Same.
Yeah. It's the holiday season.
Tis the season.
Yeah.
3 fingers.
Yeah. I'll give you 3 fingers.
Well, let's turn this camera around and get rolling here. I don't know. You've got some sausage fingers. We might have to
that's gonna hurt.
Start with, a Pringles can or something smaller.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we're, dude, it's full bore, man. I don't think we've ever been this busy in December before. We got a lot coming down the pipe. I mean, and we just hired 3 new people on Monday. Right? Yes, this Monday.
This week?
Yeah, this week. Yeah. Dude, fucking restored my faith in the trades. Guys coming in that got some experience, great attitudes. They all mesh well together. And I mean, we set that precedence when we bring people in. We're like, hey, if you don't get along with the crew, you ain't fucking here. And they took it to heart. And
how much has your interview skills and process evolved over the last 1 to 2 years?
Oh, dude, night and day. It's like, oh, you got a pulse? Can you squeeze the trigger on a MIG gun? Now it's the Indeed pool that we've, from Indeed, the pool that we've been able to gather from that, we have options, so we get to be more selective. We're not reactive. Well, I mean, I guess we are somewhat reactively hiring, but we're not in a reactive situation where it's like, just give me somebody. I need somebody, because we've never wanted to do that, but that's been our options. And so now in utilizing things like Indeed, and it's like, we thought there wasn't going to be any welders on there, but the 21st century, everybody's on some fucking digital platform,
Man, it's I've heard good stories and bad stories from things like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and Monster and so on. But what you have to remember is you think about the standard employee.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, they're going to say, all right, well, I'm going to shop on the places that I know, which is going to be Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all that kind of shit. And we've talked about it, but, the guy on his lunch break that loves his job and hates his boss, and he's finally tired of the nepotism or the culture or the bullshit or feeling undervalued, and they're going to go out on their lunch break or after work, and they're going to open their phone and they're going to get on one of these websites and just see.
So see what's out there.
Just they're fishing with hope, to see what's available and to see if there's something that they feel would be a better fit for them. So I think regardless of the experience, if you're wanting to recruit and hire, you need to be casting those wide nets like that.
Yeah, and it's, dude, some of the hiring mistakes that we've made before, like, it has opened up our eyes to what we're looking for in those initial interviews. And I went against my instinct and hired a certain guy. And we all kind of were like, okay, well, yeah, we'll take him on, and I had to fire him for drinking on the job. Was literally slamming mini bottles and just throwing them off of an aerial lift. And then tried to tell me he wasn't drinking on the job. And I went and found the bottles. They were right there. And so,
what's up?
It's just like, what the fuck, dude? So it's like, it's one of those things that I trust my intuition now more. And I'm doing that with bidding. I'm doing that with client relationships. I'm doing that with entering different markets. I'm doing that with employees. Hell, I'm doing that with Matt. I'm doing that with you. I'm doing it across the board. When something doesn't feel right, we're at least going to have a conversation. I'm not just going to drive it out anymore, because I've come to notice that my intuition is pretty fucking spot on most of the time.
I remember when I had that step in my leadership maturity and my emotional maturity, when I started listening to my intuition, it changed a lot for me on everything that you just talked about, friends, family, work, business, sales, everything. And because I tell people, like, it's always right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like this, that job we're getting our asses handed to us on, that we're just about getting it wrapped up. I had a bad feeling about it from the day I fucking bid it, a year and a half prior to us actually doing the fucking work, and Jeremy was like, oh, yeah, because I called Jeremy. I was like, dude, we're fucking upside down. Like, I don't know what to do. He's like, oh, you're out there chasing shiny shit, huh? And I was like, yeah. Sure was, But at the same time, it was a really good learning experience to see what production work looks like on like a structural scale. Because most of our custom home stuff, that is not production work.
No.
It's very intricate, very thought out, and it takes time to do it right. Dude, production work's a whole other story. You're fucking shitting and getting with this stuff. And when you got a crew of guys that aren't looking for patterns, they're not looking for processes and systems, they're just like doing the work. And then you get a guy in there that is developing systems while he goes, and you watch the production rate go up tenfold. And that's not a fucking overstatement either. It went up tenfold. And it's like, God damn it. But I'm glad that we got to experience this. I'm glad we got kicked in the mouth on it, because it's made me much more aware of what I need to be looking for in bid sets, made me much more aware of what I need to be looking for in clients that we're going to interact with. That just all around, it was probably the best ass kicking I've gotten in a while.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement and a fair observation. But I also think people need to understand that it's not always summertime in business. I mean, you have seasons of winter, so you're going to have slow, you're going to have fast, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you on some of these jobs. And it's a really interesting balance, because you want to explore the market and find out what you can capitalize on. That's the entrepreneurial spirit, if there's a problem to solve. But at the same time, you have to weigh out risk. And it's really hard to weigh out risk when you've never used that scale before. Right? And so you're in uncharted territory entirely. So your plan is hope.
When you're trying to bid it narrow so you get the job, but then you start finding out what the deltas were, and it's like there was a predatory contractor involved, he knew we were under by 50, 100,000, whatever, whatever that fucking spread is, you knew what it was, and that just and he's like, well, I don't know what it takes to do what you do. And I'm like, if you got four numbers that are within 10% of each other, and one of them's at 30% less, come on, dude. Like, at least have a conversation with somebody about it, But, that they're not required to do that. I understand that. But it's, that there's going to be shitbags in every fucking industry, right? And, the guy we're dealing with now, he's just a fucking shitbag. He has a terrible reputation. The more I've gone and bitched about this to other people, they're like, oh, you worked with those fucking pricks? Like, they're like, half of the subcontractors are like, oh yeah, we won't work with them anymore. I'm like, I should have talked to you a while ago.
What? Chasing shiny shit.
Chasing shiny shit. Yeah.
No, it's there's several things that happen in a business that give you the opportunity to restructure. Sometimes it's a winning opportunity, and sometimes it's a losing opportunity.
I feel like it's more on the latter.
This one was.
Yeah.
This one was. A winning opportunity would be you get into a market and you recognize that, oh, this is something we're capable of doing. We actually enjoy doing it. We make money doing it. So we need to scale to match this, and we need to restructure to pour, into this part of the business. And those are good opportunities. Those are winning opportunities. You're still going to lose a little bit because there is a learning curve. But, winning or losing those opportunities, if taken correctly, provide you the opportunity to restructure your business. And that restructure is going to be as deep as you want it and need it to be. Now, you guys have had you had your colon removed. Yeah,
pretty much. Flipped inside out, washed off real good, shoved back up in there.
Yeah. And, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you lose a limb. Sometimes you lose a finger. And but what's important is it's also a good identifier of your business maturity, your emotional maturity, your leadership maturity, to be able to step back and to do it in the moment is very difficult.
Yeah.
And you guys experience that. I mean, when
especially when you're in the weeds.
When you're in the weeds, you're just trying to push through. But looking at that and elevating yourself enough to go, there's a cliff up here. And if we keep doing this, the business is gonna die.
Yeah.
It's gonna fall off the edge.
Well, and I think the hardest part for that, like now, hindsight 2020, looking back on the whole thing, it's like there was warning signs, and we just didn't know how to see them. And it's subtle, it's not this blaring in your face neon sign. It's attitude amongst your employees. It's production rates. It's financial, you think you're just running lean or whatever, but, and then you're starting to watch your own emotional reactions to different situations and how much they change when you're in a more stressed environment, and you start acting ways that you don't like the fact that you're acting that way. But then you've got an excuse. It's like, well, I'm just under a lot of stress. Right. It's like, no, it's because all of the things that you have built are no longer suiting your purpose anymore, and you need to rebuild them. And I think for a lot of people, like, restructuring your business, it almost feels like you failed, but that's not what it is. It's that you grew past a point. And I think it's hard to see that sometimes, that, like you got to 2 million with whatever you were doing, and you're like, fuck yeah, let's just keep doing this and we'll be wherever in no time. And it's like, no, man, it's like once things are going really well, if you're a business owner that can maintain a 30,000 foot view, when things are going really well, I think those are the times that you need to start restructuring. You need to start looking at all of your operations and find out why things are going well, and start looking at where you're going to need to improve to get to the next step. And you got to know where the next step is in order to do that. But I think that's a really difficult skill for any business owner to pick up. And I think it takes a lot of getting kicked in the mouth.
I'm honestly not sure that's something that you can do by yourself.
Yeah, the outside influence is fucking, having you around all the time, you're like, hey, you guys are fucking up. We're like, we know, shut up, fuck you.
I'm like, no, you don't understand. Yeah. This is what's happening. This is what I see.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know that you can do that by yourself. I really don't.
And I'm fortunate enough to have a phenomenal business partner, and that dude's my best friend, and I love him to death. And I know a lot of people shit on partnerships, and don't get me wrong, we've had our fucking fair share of fucking issues with it, especially when you're as close as Matt and I are. There's some people that they say that, you should be friends with whoever a business partner should just be a business partner, and it's like, whatever, then we're just the diamond in the rough when it comes to this shit. I don't fucking know. But it's been having him there, and the things he sees and the things I see are very fucking different. With him being over operations, and then me being over administration, and then you popping in there every, couple weeks and just being like, hey, we're both like, no, it's fine. Whatever it is that you're seeing from a coaching standpoint is very different than what Matt and I are seeing, because we're emotionally involved in this.
That's right.
And to be like, oh, you can't walk into it with your emotions. Fuck you. You're going to walk into it with your emotions. Yes. Can you check it? Sure. But you're going to be emotional about it.
Yeah. Let's stay there for a minute. I think that's really important, because if you don't have your emotions with you, that just tells me that you don't care. You do. It's going to be emotional. And that's why, whether it's partnership conversations or with your leadership team or operations, the war room conversations are that war room is supposed to be a place where people can express themselves, and you can have emotional conversations. Because if we're business partners, I not only need to know what you see, I need to know how you feel. I need to know that.
Yeah.
And if you don't come to the table with your emotions, then it's all tactical.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tactical. And tactical is the 3-yard drive, right? It's just the next thing. It's like we're not being strategic. We're not being visionary. We're not aligning. So I think that's a really smart observation is, yes, it's going to be emotional. And if you can accept that, increase your emotional maturity and go into a conversation and start. And there's a book that I recommend. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I'm not through it yet, but he calls it labeling. And, if we go into there and I know there's going to be emotion involved, labeling is where I'm going to say, look, I've got some things that I want to talk about, and it's probably going to upset you. Mm-hmm. And what that does to the neurological part is it immediately it actually lowers, it doesn't increase, it decreases your emotional response to the situation because I've led the conversation that way. But you need to make sure that you give a shit. Mm-hmm. And if you're emotional, I know you give a shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, dude, we noticed that with, some team members we lost. Like, when the case of the fuckets comes in, but then it sticks around. I know people go through ebb and flows, and, sometimes life's got people in a certain way, and fuck it, But then all of a sudden you're on week 3, and you're like, hey, man, what's going on here? But, and there was people that have been checked out, they just didn't have the balls to quit. And I think that as a leader, you need to be able to see that kind of stuff and help those people exit. Because I'm all for saving people. You got people that you've seen greatness come out of them, and then their heart's just not in it anymore. All right, dude. Well, if it's not, then let's fucking move on. And I honestly think that even regime changes or crew changes are huge for restructuring. And we were talking about before we started recording that you can outgrow people. Mm-hmm. It's going to fucking happen. And it's going to be people that you've invested a lot of time, money, and energy into. And if it's time for them to if it's exceeding what they're capable of, then you need to restructure your team. And I'm not saying fucking go in there and fire everybody, but I'm saying make the expectations clear of what we need to move forward as a company. And if you can't meet that, and here's the metric I'm going to judge you on it by. If you can't meet that, dude, we're going to have to let you go.
And it still comes back to leadership because that conversation is necessary. But the other part of that conversation is you and I need to figure out a plan to work together to get you here.
Yeah.
And I always err on the side of leading people before firing them. Mm-hmm. And, if I need to pour into you more, if I need to lean into this more, if I need to lead you more, I'm going to do that. If I've exhausted all of my efforts and it doesn't work and you're just making a decision, then I know that we've got to part ways. Mm-hmm. But it's also interesting because you've got to make sure that you don't just arrive to that conclusion one day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when you do, if you do, and when you do, what that tells me is there's been some disconnect along the way, which means you're still leading and no one's following.
Right. Yeah. So then are you really leading?
No.
Just some jackass with a witching stick out in the middle of the field,
Yeah, that's right. And, it takes a lot of leadership maturity to recognize it, not to understand, but to recognize what I'm about to say. When you can see that you are spending equity at all, or equity faster than you're building it, or spending equity that you don't have, that's a great identifier to stop and go, okay, what's wrong? Mm-hmm. The morale's down. The leadership is disconnected from the fellowship, from the team. We're not all facing the same direction. And something that's really interesting, again, one of the identifiers is when things start to go sideways, people now stop focusing on the mission and they start focusing on each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you just end up with a full-fledged mutiny on your hands. And honestly, by the time it gets there, you're fucked.
Yeah,
it's over, man.
And it's you against them. It's the employee against employee. It's like it's them against the job.
Mm-hmm.
When that focus is turned, and it's now become internal as far as a company, not as a person, but they're now you've got people looking at each other. Well, fucking Nate's not here. Well, Matt's taking off early. Well, so and so's fucking off, or God, they left it. When most of the conversation becomes negative focus and poor performance focused, it takes a lot of leadership maturity to stop and go, I'm fucking spending equity so fast right now that I'm going to go broke. I've got to get up out of the weeds and I've got to see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, it's fucking hard to do, man.
Fuck yeah.
And just that emotional reaction of like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, why the fuck all of a sudden are you guys being little shits? And it's our fault.
Yep.
We didn't do our job as leaders.
Yep.
And I think that's, I wanted to do a GSD about being at the end of your rope, and I think I still will at some point. But dude, when you're at the end of your rope and you're in the fucking shit and everything's upside down, you can't get cooperation from your vendors, you can't get cooperation from your team, you can't get cooperation from your contractors, the other subs. Well, there's one fucking unifying factor in all that. That's you, motherfucker. And to take the shot to the ego to fucking realize that's what's going on, because you feel like you're doing great by everybody, but more than anything, you're doing great by yourself. And that's hard to see and hard to pull your head out of your ass. I think that's why a lot of people quit businesses. They quit having a business because oh, I fucking do all this for all these people and they're fucking ungrateful and fuck them. And it doesn't have to be like that, And I think that you want people to appreciate what you do for them, but if you're not appreciating what they do for you, and dude, there's some situations where there's nothing to be appreciative of. And if that's the case, you need to part ways. And either find other people or go to a sole owner operator or fucking get out of business, dude. I mean, we've preached it over and over again. This is the hardest fucking thing you're ever going to do, you look at the Wolf of Wall Street and all that shit, and it just came naturally to the guy. And it's yeah, you saw the highlights of what that motherfucker went through. You didn't see the fucking... And the guy was a thief anyway,
Right.
So I'm sure life's fucking quick and fast and full of sex, drugs, and rock and roll at that scale, But if you're trying to do this right and you're trying to genuinely give a fuck about your people and give a fuck about the things that you produce, the soul searching along the way is going to lead you to the fucking end of your rope.
Something you said, if you get to a point where, there's no appreciation left. That means that somewhere along the way, you have sacrificed why you do what you do. You've given up on the why.
Yeah.
And when you give up on your why, all you're focused on is what is and what isn't. And it's unfortunate because companies never come to fruition because of that right there. Because when it gets difficult, people sacrifice the why instead of their ego. And because you and I cannot emphasize enough how fucking difficult it is.
And dude, and until you do it, you'll never fucking know.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Us being some fucking talking heads, we're basically pundits for this shit at this point. And it's it'd be easy to listen to what we say and go, oh yeah, but at least you got ways to fix it and blah, blah, blah.
I would have done that differently.
Yeah. But dude, even the shit we talk about, do you know how fucking hard it is to implement this shit? It's fucking hard. But the end result is far superior than what the alternative is. And that's a fucking tough hill to climb. Man.
Yeah. And so when you start looking at this and you go down this path of restructuring, it has to start from the top. A restructure has to go from top down.
Yep.
And so, top down is everything, just the role of the leader. I got to experience my role change as a leader. I was still the leader in the company, but my role as the leader changed because it had to mature and evolve as the company matured and evolved. And that has to happen when you're looking at these necessary restructures. Is you have to start and go, okay, I am not operating, right? You brought up $2 million revenue. So we've been operating at a $2 million wall, which means right now, my operating capacity as a leader has a monetary value of $2 million. If you want a $5 million company, you got to be a $5 million leader.
That's a big fucking jump.
But it's so easy for people to go, well, we need new systems. I need new or more teams. We need more tooling, and we need more prospects to get to $5 million. Well, that's not where that conversation starts.
Right. Yeah.
You've got to go from where you are to where you want to be as a leader and as a business owner and as a visionary and as a strategist and as a salesperson. Then, as a result of that, now you start implementing and developing new systems. Now you start creating new teams and bigger teams. This restructure has to start at the top.
Yeah. And that's hard to see, because we did it backwards, right? We're like, oh, we're going to add more people. We're going to fucking get more work. We're going to do all this shit. And then Matt and I weren't able to handle it. It went fucking sideways fast. And now we're like, grabbing at the fucking strings, and I mean, we're figuring it out. And that's a mantra in our fucking office. We'll figure it out, man. We always do.
I think it's important for people to kind of project themselves into that monetary, stratosphere, and look and say, am I a $5 million leader? Am I a $10 million leader?
Yeah.
What is my financial capacity with my leadership right now?
Right.
And it's a hard thing to measure, but if you look at what is required to have a $5 million or have a $10 million company, because you're going to have other leaders, you have department leaders at this point. You have some administrative assistants going on, and then your revenue generating positions are very flowchart, very structured, very organized. It's like, can I manage that?
Right.
Can I handle that? So it goes back to leadership maturity and growth and development and going, okay, I need to work on me. And then I need to build the company.
Right. Yeah. And that, you would really think it'd be the other way around. You'd think you just fucking build all this stuff up and then you'll adapt to it. And it's like,
you don't.
You don't.
Fuck no. You can't hang on to that rope.
You're just fucking frustrated and angry, fucking yelling at people, calling people names.
Yeah.
Even though it's deserved.
No, man, it's like I said, the opportunities, sometimes they're good opportunities, sometimes they're bad opportunities, but
yeah, I mean, and this whole string of fucking shit we've been dealing with has really, really gotten me to embrace the suck. I've done 75 hard and all this other shit, and I can be a disciplined person when I need to be a disciplined person. Trying to discipline yourself when you're in the middle of the fucking shit. God damn, is that the worst time to start fucking figuring that out,
But it's the best time too.
If you can do it in the chaos, you can do it when it's fucking sunshine and rainbows,
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point. People will be disciplined when it's convenient.
That ain't fucking discipline.
I was having a conversation today with Steve, my buddy Steve, and I said, hey, we're just talking as friends right now. I said, Monday, I said, I thought about quitting. And I said, the reason I'm telling you that is because I don't want you to think that I've got this perfect recipe where I'm just a fucking monster every day. I said, I wanted to give it up. I wanted to fucking quit. there's certain things that I'm having difficulties with in the business that I'm struggling with. I've had to make some maneuvers, and I'm just like, I'm fucking tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired of being tired.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. And I was, and Monday was just a fucking bottom. It was just a bottom shelf day. But I have them too.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who tells you they don't have them,
I know,
full of fucking shit.
Yeah. And I consider myself to be a pretty rigorous, disciplined individual.
Mm-hmm.
I got bad fucking days too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of days where it's just like, especially when you're in the shit, dude, and you're just like, dude, fuck this. I know I can make a bunch of money on an hourly scale with some other person.
Same thing Monday.
I'm going to work 40 hours a week and do whatever the fuck I want.
It's like, man, some of those $100,000 offers that I've gotten, I'm like, God, that would be nice right now.
Yeah. But I mean, but also, like, that's not why we're doing it. That's not why we're here. The money is a fucking byproduct.
Yeah. Well, and, in my conversation with Steve, I shared with him one of my favorite Jim Rohn quotes, which the one is, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's from Jim Rohn. Mm-hmm. At least that's where I heard it. But his other quote that is in my head constantly, he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Mm-hmm. And so like days like Monday, and I just had to accept the fact that it was a shit fucking day. My cognitive function was in the ground. I didn't feel like being here and fucking want to do anything. But Tuesday, I was like, all right, I'm over it. Right. I'm fucking right back at it.
I think that's the sign of an entrepreneur, though. It's like you give yourself your little pity party for a day. You feel your shit, do your shit, go sleep on it. And then the next day, it's like, oh, fuck that. We ain't done.
Okay, I'm over it.
Yeah. We're going to whoop this fucking thing.
Yeah. Okay, I had a bad day. Yeah. And that's all it was. And I just chalked it up as a bad day.
Yeah, and I think that, especially from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that, for us, it's really hard when we come up on these challenges in business. We're like, I'm going to fucking crush this, dude. We're going to fucking handle it. And you nail it, right? Big ass problems, catastrophe averted. And then there's days where you're like, the problems come up and you're like, fucking again? What the fuck is this shit? And those are the days when you want to give up. You're like, why the fuck am I doing this? And that, I think that we're just not capable of giving up.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't stomach walking away from the business, know? Because everything in that is mine and Matt's responsibility. Mm-hmm. The success, the failure. I couldn't walk away from that.
Yeah.
It's got to crash and burn before my fucking eyes. I have to watch it die. Can't walk away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the quality. It's a characteristic of an entrepreneur and a high performer. Mm-hmm. So it's the reason I share that story is you can't let that be the deciding factor. Mm-hmm. Right. And just accept the fact that, all right, if this is how I feel, or this is the result that I'm getting, I need to change something. Mm-hmm. I need to restructure something. In my case, I just stopped and looked and said, okay, let me evaluate my sleep habit. How am I sleeping? Mm-hmm. How do I feel? Am I waking up in the middle of the night? What am I wearing or not wearing to bed? Am I wearing a breathing strip or not? Am I is the fan on or is it on me? That's how my fucking brain thinks. I'm like, okay, I need to evaluate my environment.
It's got to be something else because it sure as fuck ain't me.
Not that it's not me, but I need to identify all of the factors. Mm-hmm. Okay. Screen time before bed, food intake before bed, coffee immediately, water intake. I started kind of processing and looking at everything. I made some immediate changes Monday night and woke up Tuesday and was like, oh, I fucking feel like $1 million today. Mm-hmm. And then this morning I slept in and was almost late for my first appointment, but so
fired.
I'm course correcting a little bit,
right.
But no, it's important to understand that it's not a straight line and it's not perfect. Mm-hmm. Fucking things are going to happen.
Yeah, dude. I'm only 36, right? But yes,
is this a fucking trivia game? I don't know.
I don't fucking know either. But dude, like just getting older, especially in the high stress environments that I've lived in my entire life, between pipeline industry and owning a business and all that kind of shit, like just realizing that you're getting older and it's not necessarily some fucking outside influence that, hey dude, maybe you do need another half hour of sleep. Maybe you do need to fucking watch the sugar intake or, whatever it is. Your body's starting to fucking change, you're getting old and I'm gray as fuck, dude. I'm like, I don't age very well, So
you age like a plum,
dude. Fucking hard life, But just accepting some of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, go to fucking bed at 8 o'clock.
Right?
The fuck else are you gonna do anyway? Sit and watch Netflix. Like, go to bed a half an hour earlier or something. Like it's. Because I try to do that all the time too. Like, what's affecting these things and what's the outcome? And sometimes it's like, just your fucking old body, dude.
Sometimes.
Don't sit down for 4 hours. That's not good for you.
Yeah.
Because I have this gnarly sciatic issue right now. I actually fell over the other day from it. I got up out of the chair.
Nice.
Dude, my calf just locked straight up and this searing pain just shot down my whole leg.
Yeah.
And I tried to catch myself. And Matt was like, was it one of those things where you're like, dude, if that was me, I'd still be able to fucking catch myself. And it's like, your leg just doesn't fucking work. And I was like,
yeah,
I just had an old person fall.
Yeah.
And that put some shit into perspective for me, Like, where the fuck did that come from?
Oh, man. When I was talking to Katie last night, and I was just telling her about of course, I talked to her Monday, and she could tell that I was not in a good headspace. And, and I was talking to her Tuesday, and, Katie's a smoking hot 20-year-old gym rat, I'm none of those things. So it's, kind of old. Uh-huh. And sometimes I have to just accept that. I'm like, all right, there's going to be nights that I just need a little bit more rest for the old body.
Would you give me a glass of warm milk, dear?
Could you draw me a bath?
People soup. Dude, that's one of those things that I was watching this Bill Burr stand up, and he was talking about how he went to go draw a bath. He went to drew a bath, trying to calm himself down. He's like, I couldn't fucking do it. I did the same exact thing. I was in northern LA, and dude, just the money was fucked up, and it was just a bad situation. I was in a hotel. And I was like, dude, I'm going to just take a bath and relax. Yeah. Drew the bath, and I looked at it, and I'm like, nope. Can't do it. So I turned the shower on and just stood in there for half an hour.
The way that I'm built, either the top half or the bottom half is in the tub.
It's cold.
It's never, I'm never in the tub.
Yeah.
And when it's the top half and my fucking lanky legs are out, adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like some weird sex position.
OnlyFans content right there.
Yeah.
Fucking, dude, I heard a joke the other day. You brought up Bill Burr and it made me think of this joke. This guy, he goes, I used to mess around with these identical twins all the time in college. And everybody always asked me how I told them apart. He said, well, Jenny painted her fingernails pink and Tom had a cock.
Oh, fuck. Are you sure about that? No, speaking of Bill Burr, if you guys have Netflix, you need to watch Old Dads. And I don't know why that movie fucking resonated with me so much, but I think it's just the amount that I deal with the youth in this fucking country that, dude, it's so fucking good, and it makes me hate liberal ideology so much.
It's a movie?
It's a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have Netflix, but
I'll give you the password.
It doesn't work anymore.
What?
The Netflix sharing doesn't work anymore.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, they nixed it.
Oh. Pricks.
Yeah. Now you have to buy your own account. That's talk about restructuring, right? When they started Netflix, they promoted sharing.
Right. Well, and then they're talking about like putting ads in there.
I know Prime is. Prime's talking about that, and Prime's already started doing it between episodes.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen a little bit of that because I like that show, The Boys.
Oh,
the superhero shit. Oh my god, it's so good.
So good.
Yeah, their new season launches, and I think they do it per episode now, which is good because I sat down and binged that whole first season, and I was like, oh, I am such a fat piece of shit.
So season 3 just came out, right?
I'm behind on it.
Oh, it is gloriously violent.
No, dude, that's...
Oh, I love it.
Dude, when that guy shrinks down and climbs up that dude's dick hole and sneezes and goes back to full size, I was like, who came?
Yeah.
How much cocaine was in the writer's room?
Yeah,
you know?
the creators. No, that's one of the few shows that I've actually watched.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
It's so fucking good.
It's so good.
And dude, that's exactly what would happen. You know, somebody is going to monetize superheroes if they ever were to exist.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, who's making the money?
Yeah, no, it's
not you.
Such a good show.
Yeah.
I only have Prime because they haven't stopped their sharing yet.
Just robbing shit from everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think half of my subscriptions, like HBO Max and shit like that, they all come from other people.
Oh, I only have Prime. I use Katie's.
Oh,
that's the only reason I have it. Well,
clearly you're not a sugar daddy. 20 years older and robbing her fucking streaming services. What the fuck's wrong with you?
She told me that. She goes, I got a sugar daddy and no sugar.
Yeah. It's called a salt daddy.
I'm like, hey, you're welcome.
Must be one magical penis.
Magical.
I'm gonna give you an average wiener, lady. Get over here.
If she would, give me a 5-star review somewhere, that would be great.
Yeah, Texas Roadhouse.
Fucking half a star over here. Oh man.
Well, that derailed quickly.
Yeah. Well, it's how long has it been since you've been in here?
Fuck, it's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that.
We did, 3 or 4 weeks.
Last one was with Coyote.
What?
What the fuck's that kid's last name?
Patrick. Coin.
Yeah, Coin.
That's the last time you were in here?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Have I done 2 solos? It's been like 5 weeks.
No, you did 1 solo.
The 2 with Kevin. We did the 2 with Kevin, but that was all. We were all in our own space.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fucking time, dude. Friday's December 1st, and I don't even know where the time went.
Dude, it was just like summer 2 weeks ago. What fucking happened? It's like, dude, getting out of the truck in the morning and it's like 10 degrees. I'm like, But I'm going to Belize for Christmas, so I got that to look forward to.
When do you leave?
The 22nd. I come back on the 31st or something like that.
Nice. Damn. Where's Belize?
It's like across the Gulf from Costa Rica, Central America.
I see.
Tropical little. Going to San Pedro.
Have you been to Belize before?
I've been to Costa Rica.
Okay.
So instead of going back to Costa Rica, I was just like, let's check out Belize.
Mm-hmm.
But the place we're going to, you got to take a puddle jumper to get over there.
Nice.
And there's no cars. It's like a peninsula, and it's just all golf carts. So you just rent a golf cart
so
for the whole week you're there and tear it up,
That's so great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Pretty pumped.
Jealous.
Yeah. Dude, I haven't had a vacation in 2 years. I'm taking some long weekends, but I need this full shut off. Like after going through divorce and the troubles with the business and all that shit, like I need a fucking throw my phone into a fucking lockbox and just enjoy myself.
To a lead bag.
Yeah.
Just go.
Tie it to my ankle and jump in the water.
Yep. And just live on whiskey-induced Caribbean. Yeah. You don't want to miss the vacation.
Right. Yeah. And now the restaurants look amazing down there.
Good.
I like when I travel, I don't like to set up like excursions and shit like that. I want to get down there and go talk to the locals and find out what's fun to do and, try not to do all the super touristy shit,
I get that.
Yeah. We got a little tiny home right on the water up there. And then it's like right next to an all-inclusive resort. And they're like, yeah, you have full access to the resort. I'm like, and I don't have to be in the fucking resort?
Really?
Yeah. They have some sort of deal struck up with the resort. And I don't know if they give them a stipend or something or what, but yeah.
Damn, that's neat.
Yeah. I was like, all right. Well, you'll find me at the bar.
Oh, man. Well, I've got work to do still. I don't know what time I'm going to get out of here tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to finish this little bit of whiskey and start editing.
No, great. Drunken editing. Sure, that's going to go really well.
If that gets me drunk.
Yeah. Well, you're old and you're skinny. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Sugar daddy right here, buddy.
Salt daddy.
Fucking salt daddy.
Ammonia daddy.
A what?
Ammonia daddy.
What the fuck is that?
Ice melt.
Ammonia. All right. Well, that's what it's going to be.
You have a very pungent smell.
I'm going to have her call me that. It's fine. It's settled. It's settled. She's welcome.
We'll make her a shirt.
Oh, God. You can find Nate on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.